So today I was going to do this card, based on the layering Cape Daisies which Lisa had on the show last night. So yeah, they sold out last night, so I thought it was a bit unfair for me to use the Cape Daisies today. But what I will do is just run through how I did these flowers. So to do these flowers here, what I did was, with the Cape Daisies you get a couple of layers, right? So if I show you the back, you get a solid layer for both flowers, and you get a more detailed, intricate die cut for the top layer, and then you get the seed head parts, and then you get a set of leaves. Okay, I'll come to the leaves in a minute. So with this one particularly, I tend to cut the solid one in a solid colour card. So in this case I used a lemon, which was what I was going to use on my card today. And then the other one, the more intricate one, I cut in white card. And then what I do is I use my fabulous little stencil brushes, and all I do is using a complimentary ink, so in this case it's Squeeze Lemonade, and all I do with my little stencil brush is add my ink to the parts of the flower, sort of as a highlight, more than colouring the flower in. I don't really want to colour the flower completely. I just want to basically add a bit to the edge of the leaves, the petals even, like this. So I'm starting off the card and moving onto the card, just so that I'm giving it a little bit of colour. Doing this really quickly. I would take more time, obviously, if I was doing it properly. You can take more time when you're at home. And then I'm just going to go across the middle here with just a tiny little bit of ink, and that is literally all I'm going to do, because then when I add it to my base flower, you'll see it sort of loses a lot of its stark whiteness. And then put the black seed head, well, it's black on this occasion, and you can cut it out in whatever colour you want, and then just layer the black seed head on top. I also did the same with the leaves. So there are three sections to the leaves. You've got the base part, and then you've got what is probably classed as sort of your shadow part that gives you the darker part of your leaf, and then you've got the veins. Now on this card I only used the base and the vein, and I've cut the vein in a solid card, and I've done exactly the same with the leaves as I did on that flower. I've used my stencil brush and I've just literally gone around the edge of the base with a contrasting, complementary colour. In this case I think it was cracked pistachio, and I just think that lifted it and it just sort of all sat together really nicely. Now you'll see in the background there's some stenciling, and I'll come to that when I actually start the card that we're doing today. But the lady that left the comment in the group this morning said she couldn't get the other flower in the set to line up. And if I just say, I think possibly you might be trying too hard, because this one particularly, there's more give in the very finer detailed die cut. So you'll see here it does move around quite a lot, and that's not going to help you line it up. So the way I do it, and you know, you're all different, you'll all find your own way of doing it, is I'm literally going to put a little dab of glue, if it comes out, yeah, a little dab of glue on those, just those end pieces to start with. Okay, and what I'm lining up is those top pieces there. I haven't turned my notifications off on my phone, so I do apologise if it keeps pinging. I don't want to do it now because I don't want to mess up the video. Right, and I just hold those in place till they've grabbed. And then what you can do, once you've lined that up, then what you can do is just go in and lift these gently, just add a little dab of glue so that they sit flat on your flower. If you want them flat, they don't have to be. You could leave them like that if you wanted. And then you can add your centre into your flower there, like that. This one's a little bit more fiddly, but I still think equally as beautiful as the lemon one that I did at the beginning. So don't try too hard when you're matching them up, because think about nature, you know, nature's flowers aren't uniform, are they? They're all over the place, and that's what your flowers should be like as well. What I'm using today is the Beautiful buds. Now these were also on the show last night and this morning, and I don't really think Lisa got very much chance to show them, so I thought instead of using the Cape Daisies, we'd use these today. Equally as beautiful. I'm just going to show you how to put one of them together, and I've already made all my others up because it does take a little bit of time, so I've made those in advance, but I just want to show you how to put them together. Okay, so if we do the flower first, and then we can get on to putting the card together and all the other things that I've used on the card. So these are my flowers. You'll see here you get 2 stems, you get 3 backgrounds, and then lots of little petals, and then you get the little calyx as well in there. But I've clipped them in such a way as I can fit 2 sets onto a piece of 6x6 card, so I'm utilising as much of my card space as I possibly can. Okay, so I've run those through my die cutting machine, and I've cut several different colours. I've got oodles of these sitting in my craft box. So I'm now going to put them together. So I've already put my 3D pads on the back of my petals, and if I just peel those off, okay, so I'm just going to place these on here. I'm not bothered if they don't reach the bottom, because I'm going to hide the bottom in a second. So I'm going to go up there a little bit with that. Probably come a little bit too far down with that one. I'll just peel that off gently. It is a bit fiddly, but it's well worth the effort. So I've got my 2 there, and then I'm just going to add a 3rd just to give it a little bit of depth. And then my 3rd one is just going to go in the centre like that. And I've already shaped the petals before I've put my 3D pads on the back. And I'm just going to put my glue on the back so that I can put my little calyx on the top of here. Where's my tweezers? Oh, it's staring me in the face. And then pop the calyx on the top there, like that. So that's your flower made, and they all fit together just the same way. So easy, and personal interpretation of how you put them together, it's entirely up to you. So that's my flower. Right, we're going to do a bit of stenciling now, because I've got 2 pieces of white card here, which I'm going to back onto 2 contrasting pieces of card to go on my card base. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of stenciling. I'm using the same stencil on both pieces of card, and I'm using complementary inks on my card. Okay, so I'm going to use my Ultimate because I don't want my card to move around. Right, I'm not using the pegs because I'm not using a stencil that has got pegs on, but I do like the fact that my card won't move on here. I love that. So my stencil that I'm using is this one, and this is the Bubble Leaf stencil. Sadly out of stock at the moment, but I'm quite sure it will come back at some point, hopefully. Now then, on my card layout you'll see that I've got these 2 squares here, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So because I can only see the bottom part of this square and the top part of this square, that's where I'm going to do my stenciling, where you can see it. Okay, so on this first one, my stenciling is going down here in this corner. Now I'm using my fabulous little bijou brushes, and I also noticed somebody in the group in the week that said they were struggling to get them out of the holder. Now there is an easy way. If you put your thumb on the little lip here, press down on the brush and pull it forward, it pops out, no problem. So easy. There's no pulling it out, breaking nails, nothing like that. and to pop it back in you just clip it into place. So put your thumb on the lip, press down on the brush, pull it forward, job done. Easy peasy. Right, so I'm going to use Wilted Violet. Now I do think this might be a little bit dark, so what I'm going to try and do is keep it light if I can. Okay, so I'm using my little fabulous bijou brushes. I do think these are ace. And then obviously I'm just going to hold my stencil. I'm not going to tape it down. I suppose I could use my magnets. See if that helps. Okay, so I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm only pressing down really lightly because I don't want this colour mess to overpower the rest of the card. Okay. Well, I just think that's beautiful. It's a beautiful stencil. There's a set of 3 of these, and they were just divine. But I think at the moment they are all out of stock. But you could use any stencil you've got in your stash. It doesn't have to be this one, obviously. Okay, that'll do. So I've done my purple. Put my little brush back in its holder, and I won't lose it. So the purple stenciling is going on the pinkier colour card, okay? And then the other piece, I'm going to use Seedless Preserves because I want this to be a pinkier colour, and Seedless Preserves to me is quite pink. I'm going up the top with this one, aren't I? So I'm using Seedless Preserves on here, and again, I'm not putting an awful lot of pressure on here. You can see how bright this is, but I'm literally not putting any pressure on this brush at all. So the brush really is doing all the work, and I'm hardly touching it. I'm perhaps going a little bit heavy-handed there, but okay. A little bit of stenciling, and that's all I'm going to do. That's really all I want it to be. I don't want huge great swathes of stenciling and colour. That is exactly what I want it to be. So just for quickness, I'm using tape runner even today, because I just want this to be dead quick, and it does take a little bit longer when you're using wet glue. Wet glue would be my preference, to be honest, but just for quickness on here I'm going to use my tape runner. And I haven't got very much of a matten layer on here because I didn't want the background card to overpower the stenciling. So let's just put this one together now. Obviously don't want this to come apart, do I, the amount I'm using, but never mind. I'll just pop that down there. And once you've got all your elements together, the card does come together quite quickly. So there's my 8x8 card base, and now I'm going to decide which colour is going where. Turn that over. I think I'm going to have this one down here so that my stenciling is in the bottom corner, and then I'm going to go up here with this one. Okay, then I'm also going to use another piece. You'll notice on here there's some embossing, and I've used Lisa's fabulous Water Droplets embossing folder, this one. I think this is just fabulous. There are still a couple on the website. They're $7.99, so if you haven't got that and you want that, I'd be quick, because there is literally only 2 at the moment. And what I did was I added my white card to my base card and then embossed it. And the reason I did it that way is because what I've found, especially with smaller pieces like this, you'll get away with it. If you put your card down onto your base card and then emboss it, where all these little raised bits would normally be, they're sort of bonded together, because you've embossed them both together, so it's actually given it a lot more stability, and it will just mean that you haven't got any pieces on your card that sort of lift along the edge, which is what happens if you emboss a piece of white card and then stick it to your cardstock. So you get away with it with smaller pieces. I'm not sure what it would look like on a larger piece. Okay, so that piece is going there, and then across the middle I've got 2 pieces of card which I've used as my backing cards so that it all ties in together. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put these down. Okay, now you can see we have already got quite a bit of depth on that card, haven't we? So we've already got 4 layers in some places. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our middle piece. Now for this I've used the nested torn edge circles. Again, sadly at the moment out of stock. Now these nested torn circles do line up. All you have to do is look for a point on the circle that's the same on the bigger one and the smaller one, and I've just put a little pencil line in one place so that I know that they're both the same way up. So I've cut my circle out and then I've popped it into the weave embossing folder, just to give it a little bit of interest. Okay, so I've already put my pads on here, so I'll line that up with my pencil line on there, and I know that that's going to sit right all the way around. So like all your little edges are the same all the way around. See what I mean? Yeah. And then I'll just use my rubber and just take off those tiny little pencil lines, and then tape pen, put this down onto my card base. With the weave facing the right way, obviously, because you don't want the weave looking skew whiff, do you? And then put that down there. Okay, now I've got a couple of sentiments that I'm going to add, and the first one is going up here, and it's literally all it says is smile. Okay, now these sentiments come from Lisa's foiled and plain sentiment set. If you haven't got these, I don't know why. These sentiments, there are 2 sets contained within this bigger set. One of them is happy birthdays, congratulations, it's got all the family names on it, have a nice day, all that sort of thing. And then the other pack is sort of more inspirational sayings, send in a hug in an envelope, you're pretty awesome, let life surprise you, those sorts of things. And I just think they're so useful for so many different occasions. So you get 1,080 stickers in these sets. So I've got another part to my sentiment. So this bit says smile, this bit says happy thoughts. So smile, happy thoughts, and this is going down here, but I can't do this till I put my flowers on. So here's my flowers, and you'll see that again I've used the same colour card, 2 different colour cards, and I'm going to put them, didn't have them like that, have them like that, like so. Okay, so if I just put those down first, so you see the principle of the card is the same as the one I was going to do. However, it's just a different flower that I've used, a slightly different layout. Okay, so my middle one and 2 smaller ones. Put that one on afterwards. Okay, and I'm going to use my 3D glue gel to add those to the card. Now because that looked a little bit bare down here, I thought what I would do was add that other part of the sentiment, which thought I'd lost it then for a minute. I'm going to put there, but because it sort of screams a little bit open to me. What I'm also going to add in is some tiny little leaves. So I'm going to pop these down on here, just so that it gives a little bit of interest. And then I'm going to snip off the bottoms of the leaves. Okay, so there you go. Although it wasn't the card that I planned to do, I'm actually really quite pleased with that. And I think, although the layout is exactly the same, I think they look totally different. I mean, they're going to, aren't they, because they're different flowers, but I just think it shows you that you can make two cards look completely different by using different flowers. Thank you for joining me this week, and I'll see you all again next Monday. Bye for now.